What industry is a lot shoddier than it seems? Trucking. The margins are razor thin, and so everyone is trying to nickel and dime each other constantly. The drivers lie to their dispatchers, the dispatchers lie to the brokers lie to the clients. All of this for like $50 to $100 sometimes. Domain names. There's so much shady stuff that goes on when it comes to domain names: cyber squatting, sketchy registrars, domain hijacking, scams, predatory pricing, etc. Then there's the whole icon/.org fiasco that's been in the news recently. Pet industry. Basement puppy mills and dogs that are so inbred they can hardly breathe. There are plenty of ethical breeders out there, and some unlicensed breeders are ethical even if in a legal gray zone, but the conditions of some of the so-called puppy mills can be really bad. Sometimes when breeds are mixed and the pup gets the recessive genes the breeders weren't looking for, they straight up euthanize it because they know it won't sell. Not to mention how many purebreds are actually not pure at all, and sold as is. Shady. Avocado farms. Most of the farms in Central America are taken over by the cartel because of how much money is in selling avocados. Doesn't the beauty industry have a problem with child labor? I remember watching a thing where a journalist goes to India to see the mines where children mine some sort of mineral to make bronzer. CBD, lot of predatory companies making subpar products with questionable raw materials and then marking it way the fuck up and selling it as a miracle cure to vulnerable and ill-educated consumers. Usually have a high-power legal team on deck, but pay their workers shit and no benefits. Not an industry, but higher academia is badly broken. Some of the smartest people are some of the most badly exploited. Old tenured professors limit the number of faculty many departments can have, forcing people to work as postdocs forever, effectively doing all the work the prof should be doing in the first place. Meager pay and long hours, plus constant pressure makes postdocs some of the most depressed people. The grad students are no better either. A lot of the times grad students don't complain about ill treatment, harassment, and outright bullying as they don't want to jeopardize their prospects of graduating. If you're a foreigner, this situation becomes even worse, whether you're a grad student or a postdoctoral researcher. Advertising. We don't really give a fuck if it works, we already got your money. Even better, it's practically impossible to say it didn't work. Your sales stayed flat. Just think how much they would have dropped if you didn't run that ad campaign. And when you go out of business, we sell to the business that takes your place. Dietary supplements. It's gotten better, but there's still a lot of half-truths and whole lies. Not all that long ago it was seriously like the wild wild west. As a chef/owner, I would say delivery services like Grubhub. They take 30% of the sale, leaving the restaurant with basically $0 in profit. And their customer support is a joke. It's like they hate us. Fuck them. Never again. Recruitment industry. Some examples. Fake jobs to lure candidates for registration KPIs. Trainee negotiation tactics of telling a candidate there is a better candidate who wants less, so we recommend less for you to get the job. Especially for contractors. Coveting off-pitching and telling a candidate they have been sent to a line manager but in reality they haven't been submitted because 2 others from same recruiter have already been in interviews. If they fail, you may get a chance. Lot of coded ways to put on a database info on your age, non-professional related appearance, and ethnicity. Ageism, sexism, racism is rampant in hiring. A lot more dodgy stuff behind the scenes. Source: was involved with the industry on a global level for over 15 years before I changed careers. Sex toys. It's horribly unregulated and there are tons of manufacturers that use unsafe materials to make their toys. R/sex toys has lots of great info for people looking to get any. All the idol industry is shady. I've seen some interviews on retired idols and they have a lot to say about how the industry works. One of them even mentioned that they would split the profit 70/30ths, but when it came to pay, they divide the expenses 50/50ths. and if the group didn't made enough money, the idols would be in debt with the producers. Many times, idols would come out much poorer than when they entered the non-profit world, unfortunately. Most people at the top are in it to make a name for themselves and don't usually care about the mission of the organization. Health insurance. In the commercials it is all about caring for your health and stuff. But if you ever get a serious illness, they will do anything to avoid paying for your treatment. Source: my mother got breast cancer and her health insurance made a business decision to let her die rather than pay the $40,000 for her treatment. They made that decision, then hired lawyers to make it happen. My mom got to fight them in court while going through chemo. She made it, by mortgaging the house. She told me the insurance company caused her more stress than the prospect of dying. The maritime industry. Most of the big companies do things by the book and treat crews well because they're afraid of lawsuits and unions, but many smaller mom and pop companies break laws and violate safety regulations with reckless abandon because they're not as visible and can stay under the radar, so to speak. It's very common for a small company to ask a captain/crew to do something illegal and dangerous in order to increase profit, and for the captain/crew to comply out of fear of losing their jobs. And that's just the US maritime industry. Sailors from poorer nations who work on ships are often fed little more than rice and cheap ramen for months at a time and paid pennies for their backbreaking work. I love running tugs for a living, but the industry as a whole is rife with shady business. Food service in general, honestly. I was a waitress for 10 years at various restaurants, but they all had something in common: there was no paid time off. Meaning if you got sick and had bills to pay, you were going to work. Not only that, but even if you decided you'd take the day off and lose the money, you were threatened with being fired unless you got a doctor's note. Which, none of us could get, since we didn't have health insurance. Really wild stuff. Recycling. Dirty little secret of the recycling industry is how much is either shipped overseas and dumped in a landfill or just sent directly to your local landfill. The good news is the toxic stuff is what is sent overseas. Well, good news if you're not in a poor country, I guess. Porn industry. Redhead Redemption on YouTube is a former porn star who had some pretty alarming videos about the truths in the porn industry. She mentioned porn producers going to parties with teenagers and talking to 16-year-old girls about doing porn when they become legal. I don't know if there's grooming involved with that or what the deal is, but it's fucking disturbing. I wouldn't be surprised. Things like just turned 18 or barely legal is highly fetishized. Thanks for watching. Go comment below if you want a part 2. Like and subscribe if you like our content. It helps with the YouTube algorithm.